Now, if we turn to your scholarship that's expressed in the book, Jesus the Central Jew, you've said in the past that writing this book was partly your response to Jewish thinkers like Heschel and Buber, famous philosophers, saying to them, yes, Jesus is your brother, as they had started to say in some of their works. What messages do you think this book conveys to Jews and Christians in particular? And does it suggest ways in which the synagogue and the church, though neither one is unitary, of course, but ways in which Jewish and Christian religious communities should change their views as a result of new understandings that have come out?
Yes, I'm glad that this question is raised here because it allows me to go in some depth, I suppose, in what I consider as the relationship between Israel and the Christian church, or the authentic Christian church. In fact, I have come to believe that Christianity should never have become a separate religion, but should have maintained its status of a Jewish voice, maybe even a Jewish sect. I mean, that's how it started, doesn't it? That there were a handful of Jews who proclaimed that Jesus of Nazareth was the central Jew, was even the Messiah that the prophets expected. And this was received initially as a bona fide voice by the rest of the Jews, by the so-called Pharisees and Sadducees and so forth, so that it could have continued that way, and the dialogue would have been intrinsic and continuous. In fact, we have to remember that the beginning of the movement called Christian happened in the midst of the Roman Empire. Virgil, for instance, speaks of Rome and the Roman Empire as eternal, as sine fine, without end. And it was, of course, crucial to everyone, citizens of this empire, including the Jews, to show respect, to show even obedience to the Roman authorities. And there happened a competition between the Christian Jews and the other Jews, let's say, as to who was more acceptable to the Romans. And they conquered, unfortunately, against one another to be pleasant to the authorities. All the more so as due to missionaries like Paul of Tarsus recruited non-Jews, and even in numbers, so that the balance between the Christian Jews and the non-Jewish Christians was tipped in the other way. The non-Jews became more and more present and decisive, and started to think in categories that were not Jewish anymore, but more, but closer to Greek philosophy, particularly, of course, Plato and Aristotle, Plotinus, and Christianity was thus rethought in those terms, which took more and more distance from the Jewish root of early, authentic, genuine Christianity. What I'm saying now is not just a regret, sterile regret, for anything that today the Christian religion displays in terms of pomp, in terms of power, of authority, should be questioned. Jesus of Nazareth never, ever imagined that his movement would become that appetite, that greed for authority and pomp and so forth. So I believe that we are in the Christian church with the imperative to rethink the very roots of our Christianity and to return to the genuine Jewishness of such Christianity.